I've heard of that, but I never knew it actually happened.
Yes.
Good evening. I'm District Secretary Nancy Gamble Hatfield. It's Tuesday, June 18th, 2013, and this is a regular meeting of the Dublin San Ramon Services District Board of Directors. Presiding this evening is President John Benson.
I'd like you to join me, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Director Crockett.
Here.
Director Howard.
Here.
Director Duarte.
Here.
Vice President Bonnie.
Here.
President Benson.
Here. Okay. Any special announcements and activities?
Yeah, I believe we have one, Dave. I don't know if you or Redora are going to do the honors.
I am here to introduce the newest member of the engineering team. When in December 2012, Bud Mahler, one of our construction inspectors with many, many years of experience and knowledge from the district, retired, and I was really worried. And our HR department rose up to the challenge. We had 2 recruitments. It took 2 recruitment cycles to find Charlie Brackett, our new construction inspectors. So I want to thank our HR department, Simone Killips and Christine Hoffman, for assisting us in finding Charlie. Charlie comes from, Charlie, you want to stand up there?
Come on over.
He's sweet, but you know, he's very good. He comes from the Sacramento Suburban Water District. He's worked there for 14 years. He's had 22 years of inspection experience. When I saw his application, I thought he'd be the best fit for what we needed. And, you know, so far it's been great. He started 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And he picked things up right away, and he's out there on his own too. So, this is Charlie Brackett.
Tonight, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. I hope to serve you well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Excellent.
All right. Thanks, Redora. All right, any other special announcements? Okay, we'll move into any public comment. Okay, we'll move into reports.
Yes, President Benson and members of the board, I have a few things for you. The calendar has been a little bit confusing, as you know, as it has evolved for the next few weeks. I just wanted to go over that perhaps a little more detail than that. Otherwise, we'll review. There will be no board meeting on Tuesday, July 2nd. Instead, there will be a board meeting at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, July 9th. Immediately preceding that board meeting on July 9th, the External Affairs Committee has a placeholder meeting scheduled for 5:30 that afternoon. The schedule and the reason the External Affairs Committee is meeting is all related to the LAFCO election for the Special District Representatives at LAFCO Board, and trying to sort out how the district, what the district's first vote will be, but we need to figure out how the subsequent votes might go if needed. So that's the whole reason for the timing of that board meeting, but there'll be other business on that meeting as well. So in summary, no meeting on the 2nd, External Affairs on the 9th, board meeting on the 9th. I would also note for you that Mr. Bob Trempa is sitting at the dais tonight. I don't think he's ever been here before. This is the first.
Another welcome.
We won't be too hard on you today. Bob is sitting here. Bob is sitting in for Lori and for John Archer tonight. And I would also note that in front of you, for the record, we have finalized the meeting minutes from the joint Zone 7 DSRSD Pleasanton Livermore Liaison meeting back on May 22nd. Those are in front of you. They've also been posted on the internet. And there has been no correspondence to or from the board since your last board meeting. That's all I have.
Okay. Let's see, any agenda management?
You can go straight through.
Okay, approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. So moved. Okay, next, consent calendar. 8A, B, C, D, and E. Do I hear a motion?
Consent calendar.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Ayes. Now on to 9A. Board business authorize and direct general manager to withdraw district from the Tri-Valley Water Retailers Cooperation Agreement related to COVAR and rescind Resolution 3102.
President, members of the board, in 1899, the district was sued by the city of Livermore and citizens Alex Grove over a preliminary water service analysis we've done. And the mediation resulted in the judge ordering two things: some minor changes to the water service analysis, but also the formation of a joint retailers committee in order to influence Zone 7, make sure there's adequate water supply in the district in the future. Both bases of the growth was a potential impact on Doherty Valley and the rest of the Tri-Valley's water supply. Well, that organization has been in operation now for 10 years. It was formed in 2002 between Livermore and DSRSD. Shortly thereafter, Pleasanton and Cal Water joined the organization. Over that period of time, the working with Zone 7 has evolved. They've become more attuned to the needs of the communities, long-term standing. And at the last COVAR meeting, the COVAR decided that it would be more constructive if the agencies work jointly with Zone 7 rather as an independent body. Particularly important with all the Delta issues coming along, the need to potentially influence, work together to influence results of that. So the committee recommended that each of the members withdraw the organization and not have the COVAR proceed anymore. The retailer group is that. We've come together and we've drafted up a resolution for your consideration. Similar resolution will go to Livermore, Pleasanton, both, although given their schedules. But I want to say that the city's bureaucracy is a little longer to get through than ours. They'll probably take action in August. The first Cal Water can simply write a letter. But we are confident that they probably will take similar action and withdraw the organization no longer exists. However, two things are important. First of all, senior staff will continue to meet on a regular basis. Some staff will join. So there will be regular monthly staff meetings that discuss issues. Now, that could, on occasion, become recommendations to take positions different than Zone 7, and would still come back for your consideration. And then, finally, the political body will still plan to meet on a regular basis as a Tri-Valley Liaison Committee. Kind of thinking at this point in time, maybe twice a year, depending on what the needs are, given everything that's going on in the Delta. The general manager mentioned the minutes, and we saw tonight that was the first meeting of that. So the recommendation is to authorize the general manager to send a letter, assuming the other agencies follow suit, to dissolve COVAR and move forward to a new, hopefully more constructive and better working relationship with our wholesalers on site.
Okay. Any questions?
I wholeheartedly, with much enthusiasm, move this motion as presented by staff. But I miss my chemistry lessons that I get once or twice a year with certain people. I would agree with you as presented.
Okay, is there a second? I hear a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
I share your opinion.
I do too. One last meeting.
All right.
Okay, so we're on to item Item B, receive presentation and approve district logo. And I believe this is your last, this is Mary's last presentation. She sails into the sunset.
Tonight, graphic designer Joyce Lang is here, and she's going to present some variations on the logo that you saw a couple of weeks ago. As I'm talking right now, it is kind of a nice way to end my time here at the district, my last board meeting, because the logo has been something that I think from the very first day I hired Sue Stevenson and started with Joyce, they have wanted to make some tweaks to this logo. So it's kind of nice that on my final night, Joyce is here to present some changes and maybe even get a selection. So Joyce.
Okay. We're ready. The democratic process is very slow.
Only decade.
Jay.
All right. Back on May 7th, at that meeting, we had selected this design to proceed with, and there were two requests. One was, or the question is it still going in the right direction? Depending on your angle or perspective or viewpoint, so if you use it clockwise and Library of Congress says counterclockwise. So it all depends on, like, I guess, the view from space. If you were viewing the hurricane, you would for sure see it go counterclockwise, but otherwise, no rain at home in Canberra. So anyway, we're sticking with the Library of Congress. So we'll go ahead with that one. The other request was to make it look more recognizable. So in the original rough, that was just a basic idea to get the concept going and see whether you like the idea. And so now I've added a lot more detail to the scroll and defined the drop a little bit more and pulled the drop away from the scroll so that they look like two separate things. And that also adds to the legibility of it, especially when it's reduced down in size. So hoping that you feel that that is more recognizable as a water and rain scroll. So at this point, I've presented some color options here. And I know that a lot of other agencies have blue and green, like the water agencies. And I don't think that should stop us from using it necessarily. Another option being doing blue on blue and gray. That becomes a little trapper. It's nice to have that pop of color. Makes it really interesting. And on these 5 samples here, water drop is separated from the scroll. On these samples, the water drop is larger and it's entering the rain. So, whoa! Yes. That'll be the new wallpaper on your desktop. So I'm just giving the variations here. You can see that the blue and the gray are a little bit duller. They don't stand out as much. Number 6 is the 3-color combination. Again, this is going to vary because screen representation is machine to machine. And so we've got purple and blue. I want to stay with that recycled purple. Otherwise, I think blue and blue is a good representation for that kind of business that we strive to reach.
So what do they look like on black and white too?
Okay, all right. I don't have that here.
I'm just trying to see, what would look better, in both color and black and white, and more distinctive.
I'll do those variations.
Anything else? Discussion? Ideas? Thoughts?
Is there a little bit more main green rather than the line?
Let's see, the number 2 is very, kind of like forest creamer color green.
I guess 5 could be a brighter yellow too if you want to go the other way. Well, that's only when you get the bill.
No, it is. It's one that you look at. They'll never paint the inside of jails yellow because it draws people into.
Kids.
Blue and green are very relaxing.
Yellow today.
Are you liking any of these combinations, or?
Well, I like number 5, except I'm not totally wild about the lime green. And because I like, how many, yeah, you do, number 6. See how you have, at the bottom of the swirl actually looks like a drain? There's a spot. So that rendition looks more like a drain to me, whereas number 6 is just a hole.
So you feel that the ones where the draw is touching the swirl is not as.
No, it's the circle itself. It actually looks like a drain because it's filled in on number 5, and number 6 is just the outline of it.
There is an optical.
Yeah, there's not.
But I think we want to stick with the colors for the optical.
It is right now on the stage.
And I like that shade. Just use 1 and 5, I think, in different places.
Which one? 1 and 5.
Is it the same shade?
Yeah, the colors is.
So blue background of the black. I mean, it's not very creative. So, more water than blue is going to be that bright line green's a little tough.
Yeah, what I was working with is trying to keep it on contrast
Right.
on these, and that's the tough part is when it gets down to little tiny size, that there's enough difference that you can see its separation.
So like one with the darker green and 2 would wind up to be the contrast.
They're too close, that's why I had to do a bit of lighter blue.
Or the lighter green swirl.
Right. And Actually speaking, I like number 1 about.
Number 2 with the lime green swirl.
Then you have 2 lights.
It's too light.
Well, yeah,
They start to blend in. You know, when they're large, it's pretty easy to tell them apart. When it gets down to little tiny little they do start to blend in.
Because 5 on the little side is easier to distinguish. 1 is just a little, you get lost in the bottom part of it, in the little
But
button.
if you look at it as the top being the sky and the bottom being the water going down the drain, it makes more logical sense. The sky is blue and water's green. I'm sure that's written somewhere.
The library of Congress.
Yeah.
Well, on the last page of the presentation, there's kind of the number 1 tagline.
Right, yeah, I just grabbed that one as a sample to look at.
And it kind of shows what it would look like on a piece of paper.
Right.
That's your favorite one. So, the one number 1. That's what you use as a sample for the tagline.
Do you want to talk about taglines for a minute, then we'll go back to color, or finish off the color here?
Thoughts? Ed, do you have any comments?
I like number 2. And as far as taglines, those are 4 excellent taglines, by the way. I kind of lean towards D.
Water resource management. I think with the taglines, there was a question of, how literal do we want to be? Tagline A is very specific. If nobody else knew what we were about, we read that, we would understand that's our business. The other ones are, they're, all encompassing, they're a little more abstract. And the question is, would they get that we do water, recycle water, and wastewater? So it's, do you want to be very literal, but very clear? Or turn it abstract?
Actually, I like A and that D kind of sound. I've been to like aqua conferences.
even biosolids confuse them. I think we're still back at water, wastewater, and recycled water. But that's what I think.
I like to see water for today and tomorrow. It's a little bit of what we do and also kind of looking forward in the future.
Yeah. Good point.
Because recycled water is for tomorrow. It's today's water, use
And they
tomorrow.
know we don't say anything about wastewater.
So do, oh boy, mash together several of them, or is it like
Let's just take a vote on the tagline. Probably easier.
That might make it would be easier.
I like it.
You like it? Okay. Yay, yay. Anybody else like yay? Okay, so we have 2 for A. 2 for A. One is thinking, Ed. Ed likes D. And I like C. So if you really want to round things out, you'd like B. Come on, Mr. Al. And A was still in.
I mean, it's, yeah, change of diversity, yeah, if you're going with cool logo, you might want to stay with very, just non-cool tagline. And A, just tells us, says the 3 things we do. C's cool, but, I think we're trying to market Pepsi or something. Service area, use our service area.
Well, our service area doesn't really indicate what we do.
Well, in other words, we don't need to market. They need to see our trucks and they need to know that.
What we do.
Circle back to the colors real quick, you don't need to do the slide. Actually, you need to do this.
Okay.
The one thing now that I'm looking at it more carefully, I think the white drop looks better. I mean, the drop as the contrast item in the background color versus, let's say, the color on color drops, like 3 and 5. So whatever colors we pick for this world background, I think the white drop is green looks better.
No, I think great.
So A and a white drop. You guys can figure out the swirl in the background you want. I'm not sure.
A with 2.
We also want that too. Yeah, A with 2. Now what color will, I think that the darker green might come out better with the tagline too. Because
I think the
here-
darker green just looks more reasonable. The lime looks like we're trying to
Because the line kind of fades.
catch their attention. It just doesn't seem sophisticated enough.
I could probably try getting somewhere in between the 2.
Okay.
It's usually,
But I like 2, I like the combination of 2.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what the Seattle Seahawks color is, because their blue and green combination is really nice, but.
They have bright colors.
They have a
They're
blue.
bright green.
They have a blue, and a brown.
And a bright green.
I should say I just I need to get it. Yeah.
so those, it sounds like one
A's fine.
thing I'd like to see before we actually go to press, because you had it on in your presentation last time. Can we see what 2 with A looks like on like a truck, maybe a sign, some of those rendering, that was really helpful
All right.
before we actually spend cash.
Seal the deal.
Excuse me, say, for my eyes, on the screen, is the sky color the same for 1 and 2, or are those different?
No, they are different.
They're
It's different in the presentation.
And in here, they look to be the same sky.
Yeah, that's what happens when you print out and screen it.
So your intent is to have
Yes.
it different like that. That's a better representation than what I'm looking at.
Yeah, see how the 2 dark colors are a little tough?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked you, just make sure that.
Cool.
All right, so 2 and A.
Yeah, 2 and A.
White version, and also mock-ups on front.
And a letter. And a letter.
And letterhead, yeah. Okay.
For DSRSD, for DSRSD.
Yeah, for the tail.
Yeah, for the tail. Awesome. All good.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. Thanks for letting us critique your work. I know it's hard, but
Well done.
well done.
You actually got the final list to yes. That's pretty.
Yeah, in a pretty record time. That was easier than the first presentation. Okay, so, next on to board member items. We shall start this week with Mr. Pat, Director.
Let's see, the only thing, there was an email sent about committees at Oswald, and I decided I'm not going to reply to the interview, because I've kind of learned that unless you want to really get involved, you don't really need to be on it. You can just go to all the board meetings, committee meetings, and you can get all feedback. You really don't have to be on the committee unless you really want to get involved. So I think I'll leave that opportunity for somebody else, but continue to go to the meetings.
Okay.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more in it, but I'll be the first board member to say, so long, Mary. It's been a lot of fun. It's been 2 years for me. Just your service is appreciated, and I won't get modeling. Enjoy the next phase.
Director Martin?
Also, I got the same sentiments. We really haven't had a chance to know each other as long as 10 years, but it's been a very enjoyable relationship. Very best wishes.
When did you start?
August of 1995.
Yeah, it has been a long time. Well, good luck. I'm envious, but I'm only 8 days behind you, so I am going to miss you. You've been quite a good contributor to the workings of the district, and I know I appreciate it. You've helped us understand some of the more complex things dealing with unions and such. I really do appreciate it. The only other thing I have is that Bert and I went to ACWA meeting last Friday. ACWA, we've been paying attention to the statewide information, has been sort of in the last few years going through a reorganization and trying to get the executive director out in the field a little bit more. So this is that process coming to fruition. He's actually been able to, the state executive director has actually been able to visit the regions and talk about get a little bit more down and dirty and understand specific problems that each of us may have in our specific areas. And one of the things he wants to work on is to put together a water action plan for the state that the governor can buy into so that everybody's going in the same direction. Of course, number one or number two is going to be the Bay Delta. Figuring out if that's good or bad, or figuring out if it's even going to work. But I'm anxious to see the final draft of that. It was a very informal meeting. We had lunch from Eric's. We met over at Zone 7, and there was only about maybe 8 of us there. So it was informational. He's a very interesting guy. He came from Belling Met, so it's not like he doesn't understand water issues, but on a much bigger scale, because Met isn't a small district, obviously. They're a district of districts. So anyway, I enjoyed it. It was good and informational for me. That's all I have.
Well, I have a little something to say because Mary was really one of the reasons why I came, or one of the first people I worked for when I came up here 14 years ago. So you gave me the opportunity, and look where I am today. It's kind of scary, isn't it? But bridging large and small water agencies together. But I really truly appreciate all the opportunities you've given me and the enlightenment that you've afforded me over the years. And I'm really going to miss you, but I'm so excited for you as you go on to your next adventure, retirement, getting to play with your husband, and all the fun things that go along with it. So we appreciate all the work you've done and all the guidance you've given us over the years. So thank you.
Thank you, President Benson. I actually would like to take a few moments myself to say a few words to the board. I don't like to stand up in front of the board, George, you probably remember that. But I do really want to say my sincere thank you to each of you and to the former board members who I had the pleasure to work with, because I have always felt supported here by the board and by the manager, Burton Halchek. I've had a wonderful time here. It's a great place to work. We all know we have great benefits, great salaries, but really it is about the people. And I just can't thank really the board, and I really mean this, each and every one of you, for supporting the employees through tough times and good times, but certainly through the tough times, because there could have been harder decisions made. I know I was in closed sessions that I was very pleased with the board, because you always went as easy as you could, again, through some difficult situations. Again, when I stood before the board through numerous times, and I asked for staff, and I know my peers are looking at me because they always felt like I was always the per asking for staff, and I was always given what I needed for the resources, and so I just really thank each one of you. I live in this community, I shop in the stores, I go to the churches, so I'm really excited to think that I'll see each of you, hopefully, in Safeway, and you won't turn down the other aisle. Because I do live in this community, I care very much about this community. And as I said, it's just been a very, very good run for me. And I do need to recognize Bert, because I've worked for Bert for 12, 13 years directly. He and I have had many interesting discussions through the years, but he really is one of the most creative people I've ever worked for, very smart. He was definitely the person to have leading this district through all the difficult times, financially, finding water, whatever. I really will miss his creative way of looking at things. He really was the person who I credit for getting me out of the box. So I thank you very much, Bert. I thank all my peers. And you too, Mr. Vada. You and I have talked and worked together through the years. You've always been an ultimate gentleman, so thank you very much. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Okay.
One other thing,
Sure.
just to note, the Durwood board meeting from Monday has been canceled.
Okay. All right. So at this time, the board will be going into closed session for 2 closed session items listed on the agenda. While this board meeting will continue, this broadcast will be stopped at this time because it is anticipated that there will be no report from closed session. If there is a report from closed session, it will be announced in the open session at the end of this board meeting. If you're interested in what report out, if any, was made, please contact Nancy Gamble, our district secretary, during regular district business hours for that information. We thank you for watching and have a great night.
And these are per the agenda under 11A, except that I believe district council will also attend.
Yeah.